It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. Time to get ready. Time to get ready. Whoa. Wake up. It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. Time to get ready. Time to get ready. Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Off the Bench, presented by Diplomacy Clothing. Negotiate with style through Diplomacy Clothing. Just a quick note, our thoughts and prayers are with the George Floyd family.
Oh, for sure.
Everyone here at Off the Bench is saddened by the news, and everyone just go out and support and donate, do what you can to help this family, and
please be safe.
And please be safe when you're protesting. We
support
the movement. Just be safe.
Yeah, please. I mean, me and George were just talking about it, and I mean, this is getting really crazy out here, guys. Just protect yourself. If you're gonna go out there, I definitely 100%, fully, support anyone out there protesting. Just make sure it's, a clean protest. Let's not this whole vandalism thing. That's a whole nother story. But let's, protect yourself, guys. Protect yourself, please.
Just stay safe for yourself and your families. In lighter news, we had a golf game last week. It was Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning against Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson. The match, as they call it, in Tiger Woods' backyard. And it rained for a bit. And honestly, at the beginning, I was laughing all over my couch because Tom Brady is so bad at golf. And then he hit a couple hole-in-ones, and I was like, who the hell is this? Whoa, Tom Brady must have realized he was down 28-3 and said, I need to turn it up.
He's seen those Falcon colors and was like, huh.
I said, wait, I can't be in this funk. I can't give him too much credit. I did enjoy, though, the trash talk between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. That was probably the best part about the whole golf game.
It for sure was, and I'm so disappointed now that we know how much of a trash talker Peyton Manning is. We don't have more mic'd up videos of him in the NFL because we know he was out there talking shit. We know it.
My favorite moment was when they asked him if he could have brought a caddy, if he would have brought Eli.
Yeah,
he just goes off like, I could have brought Eli. I could have brought who else? He brought he brought up Nick.
He brought up Eli, and he brought up Nick Foles.
Nick Foles.
Mm-hmm.
Then who else? He mentioned one other person. I know Nick Foles. Tom Brady reacted and said that was a cheap shot. But honestly, it was a good golf game for what it was. I mean, I'm not much into a golfer, although I am trying. My goal this year was this summer was to learn how to play golf and go golfing on a regular basis.
I want to go golfing too.
So I do need to learn. So this was very helpful and very entertaining. The one thing I noticed is that it was entertaining despite there being no fans. I'm assuming this originally was meant to have a ton of fans in attendance at the original course, but because of coronavirus and they had to move it to Tiger Woods' golf course in his backyard. But despite that, I think it was okay for this one time golf match. It was okay without the fans. What did you think?
It definitely wasn't I don't think it was hampered by the lack of fans. I feel like obviously there would have been some added juices had there been a crowd, but I think it was fine for what it was without much of an audience.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we mentioned previously NASCAR had their first event back with no fans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's a plan in place to further the next race series without fans, or possibly a 20% attendance?
I think there is a chance that we could see a couple more races without the fans. But overall, the product's getting good reviews on Twitter. If you from everybody who's watching the races, it's clean racing, and Uncle Chase Elliott just won on Thursday. So shout out to my boy Chase Elliott on that big dub. But the races are being, I mean, it's outstanding racing. So I think with Daytona coming up, the night race for Daytona, which is normally like it's not their biggest event because the Daytona 500 is the biggest event, but it's one of their top 3, top 4, racetracks that every year they go, sell out immediately. And obviously it's going to hurt because they're not going to be able to sell the racetrack out. There's no way, but Florida is one of those states where they are, allowing people back in, and I think they're at phase 1 right now, but soon to be in phase 2. They're opening up a lot of things down there. So I
think they might be in phase 2, and they're going to phase 3.
Yeah,
they were one of the earlier ones to open up.
They for sure could be already in phase 2, and if that's the case, we could see probably up to about 35-40% of people in stands for the Daytona race. Obviously they'll probably do the right precautions and make sure masks and all that stuff is in play. And they probably won't let anybody in the infield like you normally would have. You probably have to strictly keep it right in the stands. But I know NASCAR has talked about it. They mentioned it already. I think they have plans to, at certain point to be like, okay, this is the first race track we're going to introduce our fans back. And I would be shocked if it wasn't the Daytona night race.
Yeah, that would be a great event for them to bring the fans back. That would be a great series.
Yeah, 4th of July weekend.
Everyone's pinpointing that 4th of July weekend. First it was baseball that was trying to get their league back by 4th of July. Now NASCAR trying to get fans back by then. That would be a great 4th of July weekend for NASCAR fans.
And for sports in general.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of sports in general, we're just going to take a quick trip across the pond to the English and their Premier League of soccer or football. They have announced that the Premier League will return June 17th, a set date, with 2 matches already announced for that date. The time hasn't been announced yet. It's still to be determined as of this recording. But the matches we're going to see starting June 17th for teams that haven't quite gotten their fixtures yet, as it's called in the European countries.
Yeah.
It's Aston Villa versus Sheffield United and Manchester City versus Arsenal.
Ooh. The last one, it seems.
The last one has a lot of implications over that table, the top 4. But the plan is right now for there to be 10 match days throughout the remainder of the season into, I believe, August. And there's going to be about, like, at minimum 4 to 5 games each day, excluding the first day. Maybe there might be a day or two during the week where there's 2 or 3 games. But for the most part, these 10 match days are going to have a loaded card of just soccer games back to back to back at the same time. And that's going to be great for soccer fans because coming from a household that loves soccer, it's been dead over here. There's only so much staying awake or waking up early for the Bundesliga to come out for my German fans. And I've watched as many as I could, but it's tough to not just hit the highlights with the time differential.
Mm-hmm.
But the current table right now in the Premier League before coronavirus forced the stoppage, Liverpool, who has a minority share from LeBron James, has 82 points in first place. Manchester City, who is playing Arsenal June 17th, trails at 57 points.
Ooh. Okay,
so already you can tell LeBron James is affecting this team from the get-go.
LeBron wants to play, probably. He probably wants to get out there.
He doesn't want the previous Cavaliers, the pre-LeBron Cavaliers in Liverpool. He wants the Lakers, Cavs, and Heat.
You want Miami Heat. 2011-12, Miami Heat.
Leicester follows them at 53 points. Chelsea rounds out the top 4 with 48. And Manchester United is trailing Chelsea by only 3 points at 45. So, with the set date at June 17th, I just read you the top 5 of the table. Who do you think at the end is going to come away with the Premier League title?
I think it's kind of between Manchester, who you said is the second,
Manchester City. Remember, there's
and
two of them.
in Liverpool. But yeah, true. Yeah, that's right. I gotta remember that. Manchester City and Liverpool. I think those are the two clears. If Manchester beats Arsenal, I think I might then jump on this Manchester City wave. You know, I might start saying, yeah, they might win. But Liverpool has a big enough gap that, I mean, I'm not completely familiar with how the point system works, but 30-something points, essentially, it's a pretty cushion, lead to have on second place. I would imagine that they will have to mess up, to kind of swindle any chance of Manchester City really coming back. So I'm saying Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Liverpool. I mean, from the limited understanding I have of the Premier League, as I used to watch it when I was younger. I had a whole Man United hat. When I was in my younger days, but now I'm still trying to weed out my fandom. But I understand Liverpool went through years of struggling and not being good or competitive. And they made a bunch of signings, spent a lot of money, spent a lot of those pounds, and got a lot of good players. Coincidentally, around the time LeBron James took part in their ownership.
Very cool.
So for LBJ, I'm going Liverpool, but my dark horse is Man United. They're only 3 points behind despite the dysfunction that is going around that entire team. Their star player, Paul Pogba, has been hot and cold whether he wants to get transferred, which is basically their version of being traded.
Yeah.
And Manchester United wants to loan out some players from different parts of Europe. And there's a lot of talk about who's going to stay on that squad, who's going to leave, what's going to happen to Pogba, what's going to happen to the younger guys like Marcus Rashford. But if they can pull this off, and I believe the way the leagues in Europe work in the UEFA is that the top 4 teams of each, there's always the first place gets the title of the Premier League winner. But the other 3 that round out the top 4 get automatic entrance into the Champions League, which is pretty much all the European leagues coming together to come out who's the best and win the Champions League championship, I guess, or the trophy, I guess, because we're the only place in the world that calls a title a championship and not a trophy. But I think they can sneak their way into the 4th spot if Chelsea is slow out the gate from the return, and who knows how these teams are doing. You mentioned Liverpool, unless something drastic happens, they could be a little out of shape for the first few games of the match days, and they could falter a couple points. Man City could come up within 15 points, and that's just maybe a 5-game winning streak. You go ahead. That could get you back in the top 5 and then at the top of the league, but I think Man United is going to sneak their way in and find themselves with a Champions League appearance for next season when there's a full fledge of fans in attendance.
Okay, all right, get behind that.
Yeah, I have to have one hot take every episode. That's the rule.
Yeah, I see that. If you guys haven't noticed, that's his go-to. He makes one bold prediction.
I'll get a soundboard one day. But that's good news overseas. Unfortunately, not the same can be said for us in the States in regards to baseball. Whereas the Players Association or the Players Union of MLB are not okay with the proposals set out by the MLB owners. Now, I recently discussed about a 50-50 revenue split that the owners proposed and the players were very upset about because they do not want to take any more salary cuts. And now reports have come out that the owners are actually okay if these talks stall, because we're already entering June, or we're already in June by the time this episode is up, that baseball this 2020 season could be completely gone, shut it down, because we're already in June. There's practically 3 months left in the season,
Either.
and the players want either their contract fully guaranteed or the equivalent, which is 100 plus games. And according to reports, they are far apart in negotiations regarding the financial concerns, which goes back to guys like Blake Snell, Trevor Bauer, Bryce Harper are saying, we want our money.
Money, yeah. And I mean, leave it up to Bryce Harper to be the one to say, I want my money, you know. Leave it up to that guy.
And you look around the league, teams are firing and cutting pay for their staff.
Yep.
A couple of teams are cutting firing pretty much all their minor leaguers. Even
the WWE today, they put out a report that even they're cutting salaries of all referees and headquarter guys. So I mean, it's being affected all over where everyone's trying to get to that number, I guess.
Yeah, and a team like the Oakland Athletics, Moneyball, Oakland A's, they don't have a lot of money to spend regardless.
No,
they already said they're not paying their minor leaguers the stipend that they're owed. And the owners, as a response, knowing that the players want their money, they proposed a sliding salary scale in a second proposal, where the highest paid players in the league would only earn about, once you do all the numbers, 20% of their salary.
Nobody's going to want to play for that.
Everyone else further down the chain earns a higher percentage of their salary.
Is that because they're going to eat up more of the cap?
I would assume so. And, baseball really doesn't have a cap, but in a situation like this, I get from an owner's point of view, this makes perfect sense.
It makes sense here. Definitely makes sense from the owner part of the side, because you're like, all right, I got to pay this guy X amount of dollars, for certain amount of games. And I can't, you can't go out there. Like, if Phillies go out there, we'll take the Phillies, for example, after the, massive deal they just gave Bryce Harper. You can't afford to be like, hey, Bryce Harper, I'm still going to pay you 45% of what you're projected to pay. Because what about those bottom guys, who don't make quite as much, but still make an impact on your team? You're just not going to pay them. You're just going to be like, hey, so, I mean, Bryce Harper just ate up all this money, guys. I don't know what you want me to tell you. And that can divide the locker room.
For sure. Because it's like, or who was it that got a massive deal? Manny Machado.
From the Dodgers. Exactly.
Manny Machado doesn't want to give up any part of his salary. And now I just got called up from AAA, and I'm barely making like $100,000. And you don't want to give up some of your salary to help me feed my kids? So I can definitely divide the locker room.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Buster Olney of ESPN made this statement that if it were to come down to it, because it actually is getting pretty close to coming to it, if the Players Association and the owners don't come eye to eye over what to do with this season, if the season does end up getting shut down, baseball, and I'm quoting him, quote, baseball will become a loathed presence on North America's sporting landscape, scorned by many fans. And that is a statement I 100% get behind. Because baseball is already losing their fan base to the NBA, NFL. The attendance outside of opening day and playoffs is abysmal. No one's going to these games. No. Everyone would rather stay at home and watch these games. No one's making the trek to any of these baseball games unless it's a huge game like a Yankees-Astros, like a rivalry game.
Yeah. I know me and you, we went to the Yankee Red Sox game.
Yeah, that was, and you know what? That energy is electric. But if it's a Yankees-Tigers game, there's going to be no one in the attendance.
Yeah.
And
that's got better seats.
But in response to that, just tonight, the owners proposed a new proposal, actually, to starting up the season. So they're going to give the players 114 games. Instead of July 4th, that same weekend NASCAR is thinking about bringing back fans, the baseball season would actually start June 30th. and go up to Halloween, October 31st.
Now,
So
is that regular season or is that
this
just
is
going?
regular season.
Okay, all right,
And I could already tell.
all right.
This may be a no from the players, but
It's a hard no.
they said that if the playoffs are canceled, because now you're talking about having baseball
In
playoffs
winter,
in the winter.
that's my whole point. I'm like, huh?
They said $100 million will be deferred if the playoffs are canceled, and they will be paid back with interest. And they will expand next year's playoffs so more teams can get in.
That's a negative. It's a negative on so many different levels. But the only person that's benefiting, I kid you not, are the people who have playoff implications like in their contract. That like next year, your team may not be good enough to make the playoffs any regular year, but with an extended seeding, like now we have a chance. And the owners, those are the only people that will benefit. No star player is going to want to play more games for the same amount of money. That's not going to happen. And then taking baseball into November, just it's not baseball. Like nobody wants to know. And God forbid it's snowing one of those games. No, it's just going to be all bad. No. If you're going to do that, I say cancel the season. That's where I'm at. If that's what you have on the table, if it's that, and cancel the season, you cancel the season.
And I know we mentioned before, but in previous episodes, baseball has to be careful not stepping on the NFL's toes. Say what you will about Roger Goodell and him as a person, he's kind of trash as a commissioner. That's just my 2 cents.
For sure.
That's just my 2 cents. But now you're gonna step on their toes if you're gonna have playoffs in November.
Yes.
Because remember, now you're in November. That's the November and December are really the NFL's.
That's NFL time.
Games.
Even NBA are struggling to pull views in November. So what makes you think anyone's gonna watch baseball in November?
Let alone buy tickets to go to the stadium around when winter is coming, and people would rather either go to a football game where it's just. And I've been to plenty of Jets games, and I don't know if it's just because they've been bad the past couple of years, or our team, our opponents just blow us out. But those games go by quick. So it could be raining, it could be snowing. 3 hours go by like an hour, and you're like, damn, it's already halftime. The game just started. And you know it from going to Redskins games as well.
Yeah.
These games, those football games, they go by quick. Baseball, on the other hand, that's why you go get some food in the fourth inning.
You get your beer in the fifth. You get your beers early and you get your food early. You just eat. It's a marathon with a baseball game.
And my problem is last season we had a big issue over rain delays. Now you want to add in snow delays?
Can you imagine sitting in the Seattle Mariners outfield in the middle of November? God. I say the people who sit in the Seattle Seahawks stadium in the middle of winter are maniacs.
They're scarved up, glasses on.
Yeah.
Like the beanie,
and the Mariners stadium goes higher
so they can cheer.
No, I'm good. I'm all right.
I love baseball, and I was really looking forward to the season. And now my question is, okay, it's looking like the season's going to get canceled.
It's looking like it.
Which means baseball's it took them how many years? 5, almost 10 years before Barry Bonds went after the home run record. Where they're like, oh, this is exciting. This guy's going for the record. Oh, snap. And then that's what reeled it in. I don't think home runs are going to reel the fans in this time around.
The problem with baseball is they don't promote their stars like the NBA and NFL promote their stars.
Right.
Like, everyone knows great. Like, if you was to talk to us casuals, a casual person would know who Aaron Judge is. But it's not due to the MLB marketing Aaron Judge. It's almost like I almost feel like UFC and baseball players, like, so mixed martial artists and baseball players have this common goal of if you want to become big in your sport, you have to self promote. You know, you can't just rely on the commissioners in the MLB or in a way to make you famous. You kind of have to do it yourself. Like you said, baseball prior to this new age of baseball, everyone cared about home runs. It was and it still is. It's still a very home run driven league, but it's no longer. Nobody cares about a beautiful slider, which is sad because the pitchers I argue are the most talented people out there. They're the ones throwing 100 plus, and they're coming down with but nobody cares about that stuff. They only care about offense. You can say the NFL the same way. Nobody wants to watch a gritty defensive game, but the strategic stuff going on behind, somebody a great pitcher. Like let's talk Clayton Kershaw. I know we did our top 5 list, and we, had Clayton Kershaw up there and stuff, but like he's a very strategic pitcher. He's taking through his pitches. But nobody wants to watch that. Nobody cares about that. Everyone wants to see Aaron Judge hit a home run outside of the park. That's what people want to. And I don't think, like you said, I don't think that's going to save them this time around. They don't have the star power to compete with the NFL or the NBA to continue into November. So they're going to have no choice but to essentially cancel the season. And honestly, they might have to switch up how they're marketing their league. And I mean that in a drastic way. Like I'm talking like they might have to get some new head office people in there. Like there might have to be some changes in the MLB office because currently their product sucks. Like let's be honest. You don't let the Astros cheat their way to a championship. Now you can say Tom Brady deflated footballs. Yes, he did. But was he entertaining doing that? Yes, he was. People either want to see him lose or see him win. Yeah. Nobody cares who wins the World Series at this point in time. You don't like. It's sad. Baseball used to be. I never was a big baseball guy. As I told you this before, I was never big, but I always watched, here and there games. But now I'm to the point, George, where, like, I live in D.C., the D.C. region. I live in Virginia, Northern Virginia. Nationals just won the championship. And let me tell you, outside of 15 people, I didn't see nobody give a rat's ass. There wasn't anybody out here wearing national stuff. Like outside of a select few amount of people, like nobody else would give it there. And that's just the times we live in. Unless you're a diehard baseball fan, you're not going to care.
And that's the thing. Outside of other podcasts out there, there's a lot of baseball purists out there that love baseball and want baseball. Yeah. I mean, I want baseball to come back. I'm not a baseball purist per se.
I don't want to slander the sport. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like the owners out here are just 114 game season, and you're gonna defer money. So basically, what I'm getting is that you still want to get that sliding salary to the players.
Yeah.
And take all the money from the players who, quite frankly, earned those max contracts.
For sure.
And you're going to take it away just so you can put that money in deferment. And just in case, as if there's even a question that the playoffs will get canceled, when you're ending the season at October 31st, that it would, because I don't see any way that they go from June to the end of September in 114 games.
Oh, no.
So you're going from June.
That's not even 100 something days. I don't even think. So how are we going to get,
So you go from June until Halloween. People are already too cold to wear any provocative costumes nowadays, unless it's at a club or a bar. So you think they actually get warmed up, put on a Yankee jersey to go to the Bronx at 8 p.m. at night on Halloween?
I don't know. We got a lot of weirdos in New York.
I don't think enough to fill a whole stadium, though.
No.
I know that those wonderful bleacher creatures are definitely going to go.
Sure.
But I don't think it's going to be a full house.
No.
And this is going to be the problem. I mean, when you mention the marketing, I think of just the video game aspect where you reach your younger viewers.
Mm-hmm.
A huge presentation for the cover of every Madden every year. Always a huge deal. They treat it like it's the Super Bowl. It's a huge deal. Same thing with 2K. 2K goes to these video game conferences and conventions.
Put the product out
true
there.
Like tech nerds and video gamers go.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
All these exclusives that come out, and 2K goes to these events.
The midnight releases. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! And they will shove it in your face like, oh, it's Anthony Davis for the regular. It's Dwayne Wade if you
on the legendary.
Mm-hmm. And there's so much marketing behind it. And Dwayne Wade retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dwayne Wade retired is like, bro, like this is insane.
And I got
MLB. It's like, oh, by the way, you're watching the playoffs. Yeah, Bryce Harper's on the cover. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
Oh, just move along.
Or they'll slide it in like, oh, the MLB The Show cover athlete, Bryce Harper.
Okay.
And I also feel like it hurts, and I'm obviously a little salty at the Xbox player, that it's only on one console.
Man, I didn't even know about the. I don't have currently MLB The Show 20, but I have MLB The Show 19. And I'll tell you what, I didn't know about that game. I knew about it, but I didn't purchase it until I saw it on sale by the PlayStation Store. When I saw, oh, it's MLB The Show for $20, I'll take it.
It's a great game. When I had to play,
it's a great game, but I'm saying
when I had
like,
PlayStation,
I didn't see no commercials for it.
No,
I didn't see that much marketing. It was only around the time it got released. That's it. I didn't see no commercials for it. I didn't see nothing.
The marketing,
Madden, it's all over YouTube. It's all over my TV.
Yeah,
it's on my phone. Whenever I check Instagram, it's everywhere. MLB The Show, it's like, there you go. Here's your one.
And I'm telling you, George, the marketing on the MLB side is just not strong. And I just don't know if it's the people, like I said, who's in charge, who just don't get the idea of like their marketing team, but they just not grasp the concept of marketing. Because I mean, baseball, but hockey games sell, George. Hockey games sell. I know you can sell a baseball game. I know it. It's just not marketing.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but Mike Trout is by far MLB's best player.
For sure. Right now. Hall of Famer.
If you don't follow baseball and I say, yo, do you know who Mike Trout is? You probably never heard of Mike Trout.
Probably never. Because he played for a loser team. He played for the Yankees.
LeBron James, his name is synonymous all around the world. I go to Peru during the Heat and Spurs NBA Finals, and I say, oh, let me watch the NBA Finals. Oh, is LeBron playing? But they're Peruvians. They don't know jack about basketball. All they care about is soccer. But LeBron James, I know him.
You can probably name the 10th best player in the NFL or in basketball. You go to some random spot. Go to the most randomest of spots and be like, hey, have you ever heard of this person? They're like, yeah. And then you could name Mike Trout, who we all consider is the best player in baseball. And have you heard of Mike Trout? No.
And that's the shame, and that's sadly where baseball is going. If they don't fix their shit,
they have to fix it. Yeah, they have to fix it before it becomes a bigger issue than whatever it is.
Well, that's all the time we have for you guys today. Thank you, however you may be listening, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, or SoundCloud. Make sure you follow us and subscribe. If you're on YouTube watching this episode, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and make sure you're notified when our next episode is live. Thank you guys. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram at Off the Bench Pod. We'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.